go for loans or commercial banking or anything. So at the time, the shares of PepsiCo were at 45.12, and Quaker shares price was 75.12. So, but the next question for us was say how much is company worth, and then we find out in the documents here that the year of the transaction, the market capitalization for PepsiCo was 67.5 billion, and
not billions,
billions, and Quaker was 10 billion. So actually acquiring.
And when you say Quaker, you mean Quaker?
Quaker, yeah. Sorry, that's.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Quaker, yeah. So that means actually acquiring the company with the equity finance, it will increase the bottom line of PepsiCo by 15%, according to the both company market capitalization. And effectively, if this if the transaction will go ahead, wouldn't imply a burden in terms of PepsiCo in terms of debt finance. Now, the only concern that was given by the board at the time was two things. One, the synergies of the beverages, particularly Guthrie, was part of the portfolio of Quaker. Part of the portfolio of Quaker was Guthrie, which is after all the beverage companies were after them, and how they will utilize the synergies with Pepsi beverages. And then the second one is, the most, perhaps for my view, the most important thing is the share price diluted, the PepsiCo. So this was one of the major concerns for the board, if go ahead or not ahead to the transaction. So that is as far as we went with the study so far. Given this information, mostly I'd say that actually increasing the bottom line of the main acquirer, which is Pepsi, 15%, it would make sense because there's no effective debt rather than pay with equity.
Equity meaning their shares.
Their share, yes. Now the value, we googled more or less how much was the value of the transaction after this decision were made, and was 13.4 billion paid in shares.
Okay.
Yeah, and we conclude the Vitas case that we were the Hospice.
Now, when you talk like this over there in Ireland, what do they think with your accent?
My accent?
Do they understand you?
Sometimes, yes.
No, sometimes, but I mean, and you've been there 15 years, or?
No, but I don't know. I guess because I'm working always with the same group of people, they are used to the accent. But all my board members are native Irish speakers, and so far I never had an issue with them. They're quite happy. Anyway, you want to present the conclusion of the SUC?
Is SUC going to do it?
Of Vitas? Not of this one. He was saying a different case.
So this is the case.
This is the one you were doing your research on. This one.
This one.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So we researched the industry. That was what presented yesterday. So further from that, the next thing that we've done was the company itself.
Now, when you present, I want you to present the historical information as well.
All the research?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I will do.
Go ahead.
Okay, so in the same fashion, we went over to the company to understand what the company was, because that was the first indeed case that we started to study. So the company was founded in 1978 as a non-profit organization. But back in following year, 5 years, in 1983, they founded a holding company that was for-profit organization. So they changed the scope of the company. So by 1999, they had 27 offices, operating in 19 marketplaces and 7 states.
Okay.
Yeah. So they have an average of 4,900 patients daily, which make a daily gross revenue of 4.9 million. Based on that, we find out how much the government paid per patient was $100 a day. So given that figures, at 4,900 patients per day, they have almost 5 million daily of revenue. And this revenue was distributed in 59% in in-home units, so meaning nurses going to the patient houses, inpatient units, and then in nursing homes. So the company seemed to be quite healthy, and the management and the system that they created was very efficient. And so at this point, the company faces two dilemmas: how if we sell the management system to other auspices, or as a outsourcing capacity to manage better their systems or businesses, or we grow as part of as an external growth, increasing external. They were buying other places, external growth. So the decision was to go for external growth, right? To selling their own systems, and they have three targets at the time of this story. They have three targets: one in California, and one in Florida, and one in Ohio. The information that we got was about one of the targets, and similar to the Pepsi case, we find out which was revenue over revenue, because we didn't have much information in terms of the value of the target. So we decided to study, say, if this revenue in overall revenue of the holding company will make sense if they start to acquire. And the reason why we thought about revenue, because in 1998, the Vitas was 218 million revenue value, and the first acquisition target was 3.3 million. That was a 1.1% over the bottom line in terms of the company, how it will increase in value. So as a one-off acquisition wouldn't make any sense, because it's too small and it doesn't make an impact in the overall holding company. But as they already flagged or showed that they have interest in three different companies, acquiring the three of them at similar values, the bottom line will increase by around 5%, and that will make sense, because then it is more perceived by more meat in the bone, so the perceived value for the holding company. And this is our recommendation. Then was yes, we'll go for that, for the external growth.
Okay.
5% would be just a start.
So again?
It would be just a start.
Oh yeah. Well, that would be the first three. Yeah. So we don't know what happened next. But actually, effectively, if they would acquire the three at similar ratios in a very short period of time, they will increase 5% of their value as the organization. And this is something that you said, how we create value. And this, I found this example very, very clear. To create value in the organization, acquiring quickly.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So these are the two cases that we can present today, and we are going to now jump into another one.
Okay. Any questions from anybody?
No. For me, it's clearer and clearer every time that we go through.
And again, the exercise is one, deal with bigger numbers.
Yeah.
Two, to see the difference between the different rationale behind some of the strategic acquisitions of some very famous cases over the last 10, 20 years, and to see how the groups have looked at these, the ones that have done the same analysis as some of the other groups have. There's different ways to cut these pies up, but the QLA methodology comes very close, plus or minus 10% to when we want to do it with debt service covering is covered by free cash flow, because at the end of the day we know that the equity infusion is going to reduce the ownership. Now, on big deals like this, the equity is normally just cash. It's not equity from an equity provider. Well, but you guys you're on the right track. You're doing it right. We're going to meet back in the pavilion at 5.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Keep working.